Hello everyone, Simon here. Welcome back to the architecture of Hitman World of Assassinations. This is the last video. We are on Ambrose Island. It is a fictional island somewhere in the Andaman Sea. Where is the Andaman Sea? Let's go take a look at the map. We have India, we have Southeast Asia, and then here we have Bay of Bengal, and then to the east we have the Andaman Sea there. So the Andaman Sea, the Andaman Islands are here. Andaman and Nicobar Islands are there. And then up here we have Myanmar, we have Thailand, we have Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore down there. So the Andaman Sea is this body of water here. And there are, in fact, a lot of islands all around the Andaman Sea. We have the Andaman Islands themselves, of course. Some bigger islands, some smaller islands. Right, you see all of those, like a whole bunch of islands. A whole bunch of islands. It's not entirely clear which island we're on. Well, it's fictional anyway. But it's not clear like where we are, right? So we have like islands all around. And then down to like Indonesia. And then there's islands there as well. And then on the other side, there's a whole bunch of islands around here. And believe it or not, every single one of those islands is a tropical paradise. Kind of. Oh, Andaman Sea Islands, look at those. Oh wow, look at those. I mean, wow, rocks in the ocean. Very cool. Oh, very impressive. Very cool. Oh, that's not very stable, is it? That's gonna fall over at some point. Not sure when. Oh, look at that. Very cool. Very interesting islands. Yeah, oh yeah, very interesting islands. So that's the Andaman Ocean. And we have a lot of island paradises. In fact, this looks a lot like what we have in the game. Just a lot of trees and then some rocks. Alright, cool. So that's the Andaman Sea. So the Malacca Strait is here, and the Malacca Strait is literally the busiest shipping route in the entire world. Everything that goes between East Asia and Europe slash Middle East slash India slash Africa, all the ships go through the Straits of Malacca. I mean, you can go around, but it's a much longer route, right? So this is the route. The shipping route. And it's also the place in the world with the highest rate of piracy. Even today, piracy. And so having an island in the Andaman Sea allows you to catch these ships as they go through the Malacca Strait. So dozens of ships get attacked every year, which is a lot, considering these days there's not much piracy left in the world. In-game, Ambrose Island is home to a group of pirates. So just to preview what we're gonna see. If we look out at the ocean, it's not very clear. There are some fishing boats. Let me go grab a camera, because we can zoom in with the in-game camera. Like zoom in. So there's like fishing boats out there. And behind, you see that? It's not very clear, but behind there's a ship that is a little bit sideways. So that ship appears to have been capsized. And then there's another ship over there. That's like a big cargo vessel. Another big cargo vessel there. That might be like are these oil tankers? Gas tankers? They don't have a lot of containers on them. So there's a whole lot of ships going back and forth, and then there's those fishing boats too. So we are in fact close to a shipping lane, apparently. Alright, let's go walk around the island. We start off in a little cove, and these I believe are fishing boats. You can see like fishing nets. They are very small fishing boats though. I think that's a fishing boat as well. There's a guy there fishing. You can't see that very well because it's quite dark. More boats back there. More boats over there. And if we check out this little hut here, this is a place where they process the fish, I guess. We have fridges to store the fish and various fishing equipment. So this is a little fishing dock. Not very big though, is it? Let's go into the island. So if you peek through the leaves there, you can see that. See that thing there? There's a tower in the background. I think the idea is that's supposed to draw you in, like in video game design and also in a theme park design. Like you put a big fancy landmark in the distance, and that's you like draw people to move in that direction. So you do this in video games too. The problem with this setup is there's just too many leaves. There's too much foliage, and it's actually very, very easy to miss. Believe it or not, before doing the research or preparing this level, I've never noticed that. I've played on this map multiple times. It's only when I actually like looked closely at the map to prepare for this video that I first noticed that they put that landmark there to draw you in. So it's not very effective is what I'm trying to say, because like once you get in here, oh, you can't see it. And you're always looking down here anyway, because you're like looking at, you know, what's around you. You don't really look up like that, so it's not very effective. But the idea is put the landmark in the distance and suggest to players to walk towards it, right? Like this is the intended way, but I've never noticed this before. It's just not very effective. Yeah, no, like most of the time you can't see it. They hit it too much. If they made it more obvious, maybe it would have worked better. Alright, so we come through a bunch of trees and rocks. And Barras. We arrive. Okay, so there now you can see it clearly. Right, there's a radio tower up there. Was it a radar tower? That's a radar tower, isn't it? Oh, those guys are playing a slapping game. So this is the village square, I suppose. The village goes in all three directions. So here we have a Ferris. Ferris is a bar and restaurant, I believe. Well, there's the bar there. There's a kitchen back there. I wonder if I'm... Oh, I'm allowed back here. Alright, cool. A kitchen. Alright, nothing too special. Over here we have indoor dining. And then of course we have outdoor dining. Some guys slapping each other. There is a storage space. Alright, cool. Farah's bar and restaurant.
I'm not starting anything if you aren't.
And then the rest of the village. Guess what this is? Can you tell? No, you can't. Neither can I. This is a cinema. Alright. Guess what this is? Can you tell? No, you can't tell? This is a VIP room. It's basically just like a meeting room for VIPs. Okay. And then this building, guess what that is? Can you tell? Okay, I'm not being silly. The point is, none of these things are obvious. Like they didn't do a good job of actually showing you what these buildings are. This is the gambling hall. See those guys? They're gambling? Right.
Hey.
I don't know why like they don't put signs up or they don't make it more obvious what these buildings are. Alright, so that's the main town square area. I suppose it's a town square. Guess what these buildings are? So this building, somebody lives here. There's a bed there, I believe. I'm trying to figure out which of these I can get into. Oh, I think I can unlock this here. So all these huts are just like this, basically. You have like a bed, a bit of a kitchen, and that's basically it. And that's every single one of these buildings, right? A couple of beds, dining, kitchen. It's just a small hut. Not that many toilets, but I suppose on an island like this you can just poop in the jungle, I guess. Yeah, probably. Like, if the population is low enough, you can probably do that and not poison yourself. So in here we have like another bed and a kitchen. Like, they're all the same, it's beds, kitchens. Right? Bed, kitchen, table. And that's more or less the whole village. I mean, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but... So there's like a line of houses there, a line of houses there,
Hey, tell Kishan I'll have his money tomorrow.
another line of houses there, a few houses up there, and they're all just the same. And they all look like that, they're just very basic shacks. They are raised up though, so, you know, in a lot of places near the ocean, you want to raise the buildings up in case there's storm surge. Like if there's a high tide and then a storm, then you'll get a lot of flooding, right? So you want to raise your building up above the flooding, if you can. Oh, and beneath here there's some containers. So there's like a cargo containers forming some of these foundations. Nothing to say behind here, just like open space. Unremarkable. Alright, so over here we have a beach and more buildings outside in the water. Although some of these boats are kind of stuck. I guess you can fit some of these boats through there. But on the other side you can't actually get the boats out. So there's a walkway there, walkway there. I mean, under the house, but this is too wide, like this, the trimaran thing. That's too wide to get through there. And you can't get through there, there's all stairs and you can't actually get these boats out. I mean, you can like haul them across the beach over to that side, I guess. But why would you bring them here? Yeah, no, it's a little silly. Probably an oversight. So out here, these are same things, right? We have another house, right? Bed, kitchen, little sitting place. Oh, over there, there's like there's a settlement. Look at that. There appears to be a settlement across the ocean. Is it another island or is it mainland? I think it's another island. Flashing light up there. Right, so that's another settlement in the distance. Can't really tell what it is though. Where are we going? Over here... This is storage, I think. Can I get in? No. Can I see inside? Ah, that is storage. And then over here we have a bit of a seaside restaurant. Seaside restaurant, and that's the kitchen in there. So this is a little strange. Because seaside restaurants is like a tourist thing, usually. I mean, I guess the locals can dine by the seaside. It's, yeah, it seems a little out of place. Because we don't give tourists here, I don't think. I don't see any tourist facilities, and this is like a pirate village. I think they're all pirates, supposedly. And like a seaside restaurant doesn't really fit a pirate village, I don't think. Yeah. Slightly odd.
No
I guess it doesn't really matter that much. Here we have another house. I can get in. Right, bed, seating, kitchen, they're all the same. And then finally, oh, let's go this way. Here we have a workshop where they are fixing a boat. So you have a shed over the water there. And they're working on this boat on the inside. Alright, so they do have a place to repair boats.
Beautiful night tonight.
Alright, you have a couple of engineers working there. Okay. And that's the village. It's not very impressive, is it? Continuing through. Look, the architecture on this level is just not that impressive. Let's just say it. But let's keep looking. Let's go look at everything, and then we'll come back and talk about the architecture. So out this way, so we're back at Ferris again, right? On the other side of Ferris, we have a sheltered bay with more boats and more houses. More boats, more houses. Right, same things. Bed, kitchen. And they're all the same, we don't need to see all of them. And we have boats. These are all... What kind of boats are these?
Hola, amigo.
I think they're fishing boats? I mean, it's not really clear. You can use boats for anything, I guess. There's like nets and things in there, so that's fishing. None of these are clearly pirate boats,
This isn't
even
really
though
your
there
life,
is
that we should
a
still act
pirate
like our
gang in
ancestors and
town.
continue the Mughal ways.
Speaking of which, the pirate base is back here behind
Eyes on the toy soldiers.
this gate.
They're up to something.
So secure gate, there's a bridge up there. Behind the secure gate, up on a hill, this is the pirate base. Although, you know, if I didn't tell you this was a pirate base, you wouldn't know this was a pirate base. What about this base would tell you that these are pirates? Nothing. Doesn't say anything about pirates. Right? Right. So the pirate base, what is this building? Can you tell? No, you can't tell? You can't tell. This building is a bar. Okay, a bar. And then what is this building? Can you tell? You can see inside this time. I guess you can kind of tell. You can see there's a drill there. This is the weapon workshop. This is where they make the weapons. Can you tell? You can't really tell. This is like a bomb. This is a bomb making table. And then there's a drill there. So this is where they make weapons, apparently. Not that you can tell.
Makes me nervous when I this round up.
Over this side, they do have their own little dock. The pirates' own dock, and there's like 2 boats. Do these look like pirate boats? Let's take a closer look. Not really. There's no weapons. It's just a very basic transport. Nothing about it says piracy. Okay, I mean there's like a shark and then there's like the cross thing, so there's like a pirate a variation on the skull and crossbones sort of a thing going on there. Kinda subtle. There's a bunch of metal workers here, but they're not really working on anything. This guy is just welding the wall.
Don't skip dinner. Farrell no.
Lazily.
Always knows.
Lazily welding. These metal workers doing nothing? There's no workshop? It's just a shed with a pile of junk? Okay, the lookout is looking out. Alright, good. And then there's like a interior
Watch your mouth,
compound.
foreigners.
So there's the wall outside the pirate base, and then inside the pirate base there's another
Your eyes
wall.
on the toy soldiers. They're up to something.
There's the tower there. Okay, so what is this building? Can you tell? Can you tell what this building is? No? This building is the hostage cells. This is where they imprison the hostages that they kidnap. Okay. And then it's the What's this building? Can you tell? No? Can't tell? This is the security room.
Don't skip dinner. Farrell, no.
And then up here... This is the pirate boss's own office. So she's got a slightly fancy chair. But aside from that, nothing about this room really says anything about piracy, does it? She's got a bar. No, nothing piratey about this at all. And the thing is, there's not even signs. There's not even signs on the door to tell you what's going on. You just don't know what's going on. This is a pirate base. Would you know if I didn't tell you? You wouldn't know. Let's climb this radio tower, or radar tower. And take a look. See what we can see from the top. Alright, so we've looked that way before, and then we saw the town over there. There's another island over to the east, and then the north appears to be just open ocean. So there's an island in the east, an island to the south, and an island to the west, but the north is open ocean. I don't know if this is, like, useful information, but we could be, like, here, and there's, like, well... The north is open ocean. Where would the north be open? I'm not too sure. Yeah, no, I can't tell. Is there anything to see up here? Not really. Steep mountains. Maybe if it was daytime, it would be more interesting. Can't see very much at night like this. The village down there is unremarkable. Okay, let's go back down. And where are we going next? Oh, there's like a ruin over this way. If we come across this bridge... So this bridge is interesting. The pirates did not build this, I don't think, because none of the architecture in the village looks like this. It's like an older stone architecture. And maybe we can... The issue is, this doesn't look like anything. The style of this... Like, look at this railing here. I don't recognize that style. This is brick. And brick arches. I don't recognize this style either. I don't... And then there's round columns. There's square columns and round columns. And I can't really tell what this building is either. Like, where's the front door? Alright, we come in here. Okay, so this is the outside. And then this is the interior in there. Is this the front door? But there's also this. Is this the front door? Let's say there's two front doors. And then there's a room. And there's no staircase. Is it just a watchtower? Maybe like a cannon tower? The thing is, I mean, okay, if it's a watchtower, but why is it so decorative? Like, why are the railings so decorative? You see that? That is carved stone, right? That seems too decorative to be a fortification. And the walls seem too flimsy to be a fortification. So I don't know what any of this stuff is. I think it's meant to be a fort, but the walls are too thin, and it seems a little bit too ornamental. So about old ruins in the Andaman Islands. So Ross Island is a real island in Andaman, and Ross Island has some old colonial ruins on it. No good pictures in Wikipedia, but if you just go to image search, Ross Island ruins. So there's old colonial ruins that look like this. And I do believe that this is the inspiration for the ruins that are in the game, right? If you look at it superficially, they look similar, right? It's just kind of brick structures, mostly broken, and then there's trees growing all over it. So superficially, this looks like what's in game. But as somebody who has studied architecture, the details are all different. Like, this is obviously European colonial architecture. Like, this is like the fact that the column has a little bit of a capital, and then there's the arch, and the shape of it, right? Even like the shape of the arches. Look at that. Look at that. How the arch kind of joins to a point. So that is a clue as to where the ruins came from. So this is clearly a church. Obviously a church. Just look at it. So some things you just look at and you can recognize. Some things you can like pay a little more attention and you can understand. So there's like that arch there, and then that square arch there. This is very European. These shapes, like this shape and then this shape, very European, right? This European. This is Gothic. Good old Gothic architecture. So you just look at the shapes and you recognize what they are. In the game, I look at these shapes, I have no idea what these are. I've not, like, this? This could be anything. Maybe this is crazy to you. Maybe this is crazy to you if you haven't studied architecture. Look, it's an arch, okay, yes. But like a Roman arch is more circular. Does that sound crazy? This arch is too flat to be Roman. Roman arches are like perfectly circular, like you kind of go up and then semicircle. If you just go straight up and it's a perfect semicircle, Roman arch. And then if it's like goes to a point, Gothic arch, right? But this is like an ellipse. The ellipse doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't. I don't know what that is. It's something like one of these things that if you've seen enough architecture, you know what to look for. And so this is like somebody who doesn't know architecture history making something that's supposed to look like European colonial architecture, but it's not actually European colonial architecture because there's nothing distinctly European about the shape of this arch. I might sound like a crazy person if you don't understand what I'm talking about and you haven't seen a lot of architecture. This doesn't say anything. That's not European. Like Europeans don't build their railings like this. Or like I've never come across an example of European architecture that does specifically this. It looks vaguely Asian, but Asians don't do this either. Like it doesn't look like anything. So like I looked at this and I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. And then I googled, and then I found this, but I can figure this out. That's a church, right? I can just look at it, you immediately know it's a church. Like this arch, you see this? This is semicircular. And then that's square. Like, you can see that, right? It's just like, the shape is not, this is too flat. Like, I saw the images in the, like, I saw the real photos, I could tell immediately what they were. I look at this, I can't tell what this is. So, Like somebody tried to make something that looks like colonial ruins, but they don't really know what colonial ruins actually look like. And so it didn't work. Alright, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So we're gonna have to go back to where we started, but I'll take the long way. So there's beaches all around the island, and you can walk around most of the perimeter, although there's not too much to see out here. This is mostly for gameplay, right? If you want to sneak around and not be seen, you can take the back road. Nothing to say about these rocks. Right, we're back at the pirate dock. They have warders off because the pirate base is secure, but not that secure because you just walk around it. Oh, they've hung like fairy lights too. I don't know why they hung fairy lights. Yeah, I don't know why they're fairy lights. But the thing is, they're pirates, right? Maybe they just like they stole a shipment of fairy lights and they just put it up. They're meant to be pirates. I guess they hijack ships and steal the cargo. Oh, here you go. Look, we have an inflatable raft. This is more like what pirates actually use, by the way. All the other boats that we've seen so far, these are not pirate boats. None of these are actually pirate boats. Real pirates use these because they're light and they're fast. They're lighter than the wooden stuff, so they're faster. And they use these to very quickly catch up to a ship, board the ship, and kidnap the crew and hijack the ship. So real pirates use these. None of the other boats are actual pirate ships. So on the entire island there's like one pirate ship. One pirate boat. Alright, coming around back to this way. Going through this jungle area again. That's where we started, remember that? So going this way from where we started. If I can figure out where this is. We have more stairs. Again, the pirates, I don't think the pirates built these stairs, so these are probably the old colonial ruins, maybe. More jungle, more jungle. Another beach. I do have to change my outfit. Let me come over here real quick. Right, put on a different outfit. That's the same capsized boat. So, up here, more stairs. And we have chefs. So over on this side of the island, there's like a militia group. They are on
Nice
speaking
night,
terms
isn't
with
it?
the pirates, but they're not the same group. The militia guys have set up a kitchen out here. It's a little strange the kitchen is here. Usually you put the kitchen in a more secure place. Because you know, like when you're eating, you have your guard down. So you don't want to have your guard down near the perimeter of the facility. So usually like the eating, the sleeping, the eating is like further in. Not that it matters too much. Where should we go first? Let's go down here first.
Who's good tonight?
So under the mountains, there is a big ass cave. The caves go in every direction, conveniently. So this way goes back to the radio tower over there. Remember this bay, right? So that's just a staircase going back that way. This way, inside the cave, the militia guys have set up an area here. I guess these are the bunks, they sleep here. Right, they have a bunch of sleeping bags Not enough though, there's not enough sleeping bags for everybody. That guy's lifting weights, okay. And then here they have computer equipment. In the middle of a big cave. Now you might think this is okay, right? The problem is... the water's right there, this is water here. So, I mean, hopefully this is high tide. If this is as high as the tide goes, you might be okay. If this is not high tide, then the water comes into the cave and floods the computer, right? And even if it is high tide, again, if there's storm surge can be like 1 or 2 meters. If you get a meter of storm surge, all of this gets completely flooded. And you can tell that happens sometimes because there's sand in here, right? Sand is washed up from the ocean, right? What sand is created when the waves erode the rocks and just pound the rocks in the sand, right? And then the sand kind of falls into the ocean, and then when the waves come in, they push the sand onto the beach. So when you see sand on the beach, that's the water pushing that stuff up. So anywhere you see sand, water is pushing that in. So the water probably comes up here occasionally, and that's why there's sand in the bottom of the cave, because the water will come in. So this is all extremely dubious. Like all of this? Crazy. You wouldn't do this. Because it's all sand. Where does the sand come from? The sand has to be washed by water. So yeah, no, you wouldn't do this. You would not set up your sleeping bags right here. So the caves again go in every direction. This goes back out to the Pharaohs again. Let me just show you real quick. Oh, there's water here too. But there's water on this side and water on the other side, and there's sand in between. Of course it floods. It floods all the time. There's no way you can set up a computer there. So this goes back to the village that way. We don't want to go that way right now. The caves go in every direction. Not very secure, to be honest. Seems like a security liability to have so many entrances. If I come this way, and there's sand all over the floor here, all of this will flood. Oh, that's interesting. There's a gates here. Is this part of the old colonial architecture? Not sure why there's a gate there actually. This, I guess, the staircase here too. That's a little strange, isn't it? The rocks there. I guess it's not too crazy. So this goes back to the cooking area, right? Okay, so now above on the hill,
Murder tonight.
there's a comm tower there, and communications equipment. These guys are just chilling out, watching the comm tower. And then here we have more ruins. Same style as on the other side. And as I said over there, I have no idea what this architectural style is. It's not any sort of architectural style. And there's like round columns and square columns. Why? Not sure. Like, what is this? Why is this there? Is that a tower? If that's a tower, then why is this open? Because then what is this? You'd think it's a fortress of some sort. It's at the top of the hill. Usually you put your watchtowers and forts at the top of the hill. But if it is a fort, the walls are way too thin for a fort. And like there's too many arches and everything's too delicate. And the walls are open. Right? You see like there's railings there, so the wall is meant to be open. So it was never a solid wall. So how is it a fortress if the walls are open? There's no protective element. And then there's like a tower here, I guess. So none of this makes sense, is what I'm trying to say. It looks like a temple. It doesn't even look like a church, right? Like, so if it's European colonial, which it is, then it wouldn't be a temple, it would be a church. But this is not the shape of a church. It's nothing. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. There's too many arches. You would have this many arches in a church. But it's not a church. Because the rest of it doesn't look like a church. I mean, potentially, like if you do a lot of filling in, this could be a church. No, this could be a church, I guess. But then why would you have a church up here? Why would you? Because this would make a lot more sense as a fortress. And there's cannons. So it should be a fortress, right? Unless you have cannons in your church, which is aggressive. Don't know. There is a underground part as well. Right. So underground, so there's these iron bars. So this has been turned into a dungeon. There's a guy there dead. Was this always a dungeon? I mean, there's a cannon in here. I guess if you're really generous, you can make up a story about how they built a church and then it got hastily converted into a fortress. But because it's not a real fortress, it just lost the battle and got demolished, and that's why everything's ruined. And so that's why there's cannons here in a thing that looks more like a church than a fortress. Like, you can make up a story to justify anything, whether or not that's good architecture. Because look, if it's good architecture, you should not have to make up a story. The architecture should tell you the story. If that makes sense. Where am I going? I need to go back up. Right, so then behind this, let's go to the other side of this.
This place is nice and all, but I'm getting antsy.
Back the other side, we have a little pathway here, more ruins. Again, no idea what this would be. Why would you have a building here? I guess this would have been a wall. Maybe the wall to the fortress or church. Up there, maybe. Rope bridge. So this rope bridge is pretty new, it's in pretty good condition, right? The rope bridge connects up the militia guys and the pirate guys, although you have to keep in mind that if the rope bridge is new and there's no older bridge, there's no trace of any older bridge, then it means that this was never an entrance. This would be like a dead end in the past. I'm not sure how that makes any sense. And if we assume that this rope bridge is new and was not a part of the old colonial era architecture, then coming down here, there's this staircase and this bridge, but this bridge would also go nowhere. Right, it would just go to a dead end. So why would you have a bridge that goes to a dead end? Like, that gate on that side and the bridge on this side and the staircase on this side, this only makes sense if there's a path there. But the bridge like in the middle of the path is not part of the old architecture. Oh, there's a Buddha statue here. Okay, maybe the bridge leads this way. I guess they've got a shrine here, maybe. Okay. I guess. But also, why is there a Buddha statue here? Are these colonial ruins, or are these like Buddhist ruins? They're not Buddhist ruins. They don't look like Buddhist ruins. I can't figure it out. An old Buddha statue here. More stairs. Who built these stairs? So maybe these are not colonial era stairs. Maybe this is older. And then back down this way. And that's it. That's the whole Ambrose Island. We've walked around and saw everything. Let me find a nice spot. Oh hey, let's hang out by the beach under the parasol. Alright. So that's Ambrose Island. And honestly the architecture is not very good. But let's talk about why it's bad. And we can contrast this with all the previous levels which were good. And we're gonna learn about what makes good video game architecture. Alright, cool. So what's the difference between good and bad architecture? Or like, how do you make good architecture? First of all, good architecture begins with a strong idea, right? You need a cool idea. And every Hitman level before this one had strong ideas. If you think back, for example, we had the French Chateau. Strong, clear, easy to understand. It's a French chateau. Or we have a Mumbai slum. Alright, Mumbai. Again, strong, clear. Or a power station dance club. You know, in Berlin we had a EDM club in a power station. Cool, strong idea, clear, we understand it. Now this level, it's a pirate island. Right? It's an island with a bunch of pirates on it. I mean, it's not bad. Alright, we can work with that. Like, piracy. Okay. Potentially a good idea? A little vague though, because there's not many pirates these days. And the idea of like there being a whole island of pirates, this is really like a thing of the past. These days you have like pirate gangs, but they're really well hidden. And they don't like take over the whole island. They're more like thieves instead of like full-blown armies. It used to be pirates were like literally armies, like they have like hundreds of people. These days you have like a few dozen people with guns taking over ships. So the pirate island thing, it's what I'm trying to say. It's a little difficult to do a modern interpretation of it because there's no modern examples for you to look at. You can do it, it's just harder because you have to fill in a lot of the gaps yourself, right? Okay, so you have an idea. Pirate Island, cool. So then what do? You do research, right? Because whatever you imagine in your head, it's not that interesting. I'm just telling you now, whatever idea you have is not that cool. What you need is to do research to find more ideas to fill in all the gaps, right? And so, you know, like a French chateau, how would you do research? Well, you go visit some real French chateaus, take a lot of photos, do a lot of drawings, and like really learn about the real thing, right? Mumbai slum, how do you learn about Mumbai? You go to Mumbai. You go to Mumbai, and you just look at the place, do a lot of research, take photos. So then, pirates? How do you do research on pirate islands? See, here's the hard part. Like, you can't find... Even if you find the pirates, they're gonna kill you because they're pirates and they don't want you nosing in on their business, right? So I guess you're gonna have to use your imagination a little bit. Try to do some research. But you can do like, you can research other things. There's things like, you can look at bases for like terrorist groups, right? There's like militia groups, and pirates are kind of similar. And I guess you can look at things like you know, right now in the Middle East, there's like the Houthis, or like, you know, those other kind of militia groups. They're like not quite militaries, but they're kind of militaries, like Islamic State, Al Qaeda. Like they have training camps. You can kind of look at those guys, like military groups, and learn from those. You can do like you can do some research, and you can like kind of extrapolate a bit. All right, so let's imagine what a pirate base might have. You would definitely have armories. You would need a lot of weapons, right? You would need like facilities for building and repairing ships, and like specifically ships that you use to kidnap people and hijack boats, hijack ships. You might have like a treasure hoard. Like that's fun. It's a little silly, but it's one of these things. Oh, pirate treasure, yeah. So if you're gonna make a pirate map, you want to have like a treasure room somewhere. And it might not be the usual treasure. It might just be random junk that they've collected over time from their various heists. Pirates might have a cover. And by cover, I mean there might be like a legitimate business or a legitimate village, and they're hiding underneath the cover of that legitimate operation, right? Maybe there's a legitimate fishing operation, and then the pirates are hiding underneath the fishing operation. Oh, think about that. Maybe there's like a fishing village, but they're not really fishermen. They're just pretending to be fishermen. And then like behind all the fishing stuff, there's the pirates. Maybe there's that. Oh, that's cool. What you wouldn't do is you wouldn't fly your pirate flag out in the open like that. You wouldn't declare to the world that you are here as a pirate group, because that's a little bit silly, right? You would want to like stay undercover and not blow your cover, right? Or that's what I would think. Oh, you might have shipbreaking. Shipbreaking is cool. Have you seen shipbreaking? So shipbreaking is like when a ship is old and it's not really worth repairing anymore. What do you do with them? They need to be broken down into scrap, right? And so maybe the pirates, they just hijack the whole ship and they just break it. Like they just kind of break the ships apart and sell the things for scrap, right? Because how do pirates make money? Shipbreaking is super cool, man. So this is legitimate shipbreaking, and you just have ships? Oh, look at that. Like you just hold a ship to land and you just start breaking it apart? Super cool. Get some cool pictures. Oh, look at that. Like imagine like, oh, look at a massive ship, and they just kind of systematically cutting it up and turning it into scrap. Oh, look at that. It's just a giant ship part that's been cut off, and that ship's just kind of sitting on the beach and being cut up. Super cool shipbreaking. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Very cool, right? So imagine these pirates are just kind of taking the whole ship and just breaking the whole thing down and selling the scrap. Except they're not, right? Except these guys, they're not doing any of that. Remember there were a couple of metalworking guys on the other side of the base and they're just standing around doing nothing? What they should be doing is breaking a ship. Imagine if that was in the game. That would be super cool, right? Oh, the pirates might have a smuggling business? So what do pirates do, really? They kidnap for ransom, they hijack to steal cargo, and they also do smuggling, right? It's not just taking stuff, delivering stuff that you're not supposed to deliver. That's also something pirates can do. And, oh, like tattoos and piercings? I mean, it's a bit random, but, you know, it's the sort of thing that pirates do, like, Cool haircuts? Cool pirate tattoos? I don't think we've seen any pirate tattoos. Why is there no tattoo place? Isn't that what sailors do all the time? I mean, it's kind of cliched, but kind of yes, right? Yes, sailors get tattoos all the time. And so like, you know, when you look at the pirate base in the game, it's so basic, and there's like nothing there. Like they don't have any ships. They don't have any ships, and they don't have any special weapons. They don't have any treasure. So there's nothing that you would expect to find that a group of pirates should have, right? A group of pirates should have fast ships, powerful weapons, and treasure, and none of this is here. So like, so you have this idea of a pirate island, and you just don't do anything. You just don't do anything piratey with it. So you've missed the opportunity to do something cool, right? So then, okay, so you figured out your great idea. You figured out all the things you want to do to support that idea. The next thing you need is a distinctive architectural style. Do you see any distinctive architectural style in this level? No, they're just shacks. And they all look the same. They're just shacks, and the shacks all look the same. Don't do that. Right? Like how would you have a distinctive architectural style for a bunch of pirates? Like I was saying before, like imagine if they broke up the ships, right? Imagine like they hijacked the whole ship, they cut it up, and then they use those segments to build their shacks. So all the shacks are like pieces of broken ships. Oh, that'll be cool! That's so cool! Right? So you just have to do something a little bit interesting, you know? Don't just have like a wooden shack with a thatched roof. Like anyone can, like, it could be anything. It could be anywhere in the world. Anyone could live in it. There's nothing distinctive about it, right? If you want cool architecture, you need to do something distinctive. You need to come up with like a wacky idea and just take it all the way to the end. And just whatever it is. And remember like all the previous levels that we've seen so far, right? Like a hospital on top of a mountain in Hokkaido is a really stupid idea actually, because why would you put a hospital up there? But once you've chosen to do that idea, you just go for it, right? You just take it and you take it all the way, and they did it. You know, it's okay. It's a hospital. It's strange that you have a hospital there, but it looks like a hospital, and not just that it looks like a hospital, it looks like a very distinctive, unique, special hospital, right? And so, like, if you have a pirate island, you can't just make it look like any other pirate island. If you want to make good architecture, you have to make it distinctive, unique. Like, you need to like figure out a particular architectural style or a particular architectural approach, like particular materials and construction methods. That's something that you don't see anywhere else, right? And then when the players see it, they're like, I've never seen that before, it's so special, and they're never going to see it again. And so they always remember this special thing that they've seen in your video game. That's what you want. You don't want your level to look like every other video game they've ever seen before, because then what's so special about it? Like, what's the point? Why'd you make it? Other people have made it already. Right, so you need distinctive architecture. And then after that, you need to make your architecture expressive. What does that mean? The architecture needs to say something. The architecture, first of all, when you look at a building, it should tell you what it is, right? A toilet should look like a toilet. A restaurant should look like a restaurant. A bar should look like a bar, right? A barracks should look like a barracks. And like, it's a little hard actually. Like, if you haven't studied architecture, it's a little difficult. But what you need to do again is just go back, do your research, right? Like, just do a lot of research, look at a lot of examples, and eventually you kind of pick out like what makes a thing, right? So the building should tell you what it is, and the building should also tell you what kind of people use it. Like, are they rich? Are they poor? Are they neat? Are they messy? Are they flashy? Or are they sensible? So like, the building or the architecture should reflect the personality of its users. So if it's a bunch of pirates that are drunk all the time, then maybe it's a bit messy. You see what I mean? So, but not just messy, like maybe like if the pirates are like fighting all the time because that's what they're like. I don't know. This is like brawling. So then maybe there's like you look at it and you can tell like where they fight. Alright? So the architecture needs to tell you what's happening. It needs to tell you what it is, who lives there, how they live there. And ideally it should tell you some history as well. In the game, if you remember, like everything looks the same. Like the bar, the cinema, the gambling hall, the houses, the bomb workshop, the pirate boss's office. Like from the outside, they all just look the same. So that's not good architecture. Like why would they all look the same? There's no expression. There's no personality. And that's it. All right. That's how you go about, or that's the difference between how you make good architecture and bad architecture. Strong idea, thorough research, a distinctive architectural style and materials, and then have the architecture express the functions and the personalities of the people who use it. Like a distinctive style and materials, just think back to Mendoza, just the last video. Like there's the vineyard that's kind of buried in the ground, and then everything is copper, architectural copper. Distinctive style and materials. And it's like something you don't see very often. Yeah. So that's the difference between good and bad architecture. And if you don't do any of that, then you end up with something like this level. Right? And it's just very mediocre. The architecture is just not very memorable. Doesn't really say anything. You don't really yeah, it's just not very good. But I don't want to criticize the devs too much. Like, okay, so I've spent a lot of time criticizing the architecture, but this happened for a reason, right? And I don't want to say that they don't know how to do it because they've done it, right? This game, all those previous levels had great architecture, and then this one didn't. So you can't say that they can't make good architecture because they've done it before. But for whatever reason, they didn't do it on this level. And a lot of things could happen in video game development, right? Maybe it's money, maybe it's time, or maybe this is like a side project for their interns. You know, sometimes video game studios would do that. Like they would, if you have like a bunch of new people who don't have a lot of experience, you'd give them a project to work on. And you know it's not going to be very good, but it's a learning process, right? You give them like a level to work on, so they learn how to do it. And the thing about this is, like, you get better. The more you do it, the better you get. And so you just have to go through the bad stuff before you can start making good stuff. Like, because like, how do you make good stuff? It's through practice. So all the things you practice on are gonna be bad. Like, you're gonna be bad until you get good enough to make good stuff. And so this could be like a training map for the interns or whatever, just to get them to make something and learn from the experience, and then maybe the next time they make a level, it'll be better than this one, right? So it could be that, like it could be a lot of reasons. It is a little unfortunate though that we have to end this series on a negative note. Like this level is clearly not as good as all the other ones. But then again, I think it's useful to look at this in order for us to understand the difference between good architecture and bad architecture. Just comparing two levels of the same game, but which are obviously different qualities, of like different levels of quality, and just like thinking about what they did right and then what they did wrong, and that kind of teaches us how to make better architecture in video games, you know, if we're interested in that sort of thing. And also I think it gives us a greater appreciation of like all the work that's gone into all the other levels. Not this one, all the other levels had really good architecture, and I think just looking at that one allows us to appreciate those more, right? Okay, so that's the end of the series. That's the end of the architecture of Hitman World of Assassinations. Excellent architecture for every level except the last one. And a great example of good architecture in video games. Alright, I'm gonna stop rambling here. I still have to eliminate my targets. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. If I can find the bomb. Whoa!
Taken care of. Akka's out of the way. Good work. And that's that. The rest will pick up the pieces. It's time to go, 47.
It's time to go! Alright. Goodbye! I hope you enjoyed the series.
I'll let Diana and Olivia know. The scheme has been completed.